Hi, loves. Okay, so I have been sitting here for a while thinking about what to say, how to say it, if I want to say it. I live near the airport. I have planes flying over me. It's all loud. Usually it's quiet as far as like the neighbors and stuff are concerned, but now there's people outside playing with their dogs that I've never even seen before. And yeah, and then I'm just like super sleepy all of a sudden and just all of that. But anyway, I wanted to come over here and make a video because I was thinking about there are two topics that I kind of want to, talk about, but I'm thinking that I don't know. So um one of them is that, like, you know how God will call you to do something that you don't want to do. Well, that's this. I really do not want to make these videos because it's just, I don't really want to share all my business. I don't want to share, I'm a very private person for the most part. So having to share this stuff is just not easy. And then having to share while you're still going through stuff is not easy. But I remember years ago, and like all of while I was growing up, there was like so many people. Like I've been through so much. I've had such a tumultuous, like very rough upbringing, and um through the years, especially like when I got into my 20s and stuff, I heard a lot of people say, "Oh, well, your story's not for you. Like everything that you go through is for someone else. It's not for you. It's for you to be able to share it and help someone else." And the word says we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony. And so I remember always thinking, sometimes I would say it out loud, but I was always thinking like, man, I have enough stuff to share that, like, if the Lord don't allow nothing else bad to happen to me, I got enough stuff to share that I could help a lot of people and change a lot of people's life with the stuff that I have to share. Like, Lord, please don't give me anything else because I've been through enough. And so yeah, but that didn't happen. I still, of course, experience a lot more stuff after that. And even now, it's like people will say, "Oh, well, share your story. It's gonna help somebody," blah blah blah. And I'm just like, I don't want to. Like, it's so embarrassing. It's traumatic to have to relive a lot of the stuff, to think about like the stuff that you did when, even if it was like not even years ago, but just like in the mindset that you were in at the time that you did whatever you did. And then like now looking back on it's like, man, like I made a bad decision, or, I should have did that differently. I wish I would have said this. I wish I would have did that. I wish I wouldn't have said this or that. But, you live and you learn, and there's really not much we can do to change what has already passed. So, recently, or well, last year, whenever I heard the Lord say to start doing these videos, I have been struggling with it because I'm just like, Lord, I don't want to do that. Like, it's not easy to get up here in front of the camera and to talk and to tell the most intimate parts of your life. And then, especially while still kind of like healing from it, still kind of like just dealing with a lot of the shame and the grief and just all the different things. And so, but I know that I've heard other people who have told their testimony or told their story about what has happened to them, and I know how helpful it was to me. So I know that like it's helpful to someone else. And whenever I share mine. And I have actually had some situations where I have shared parts of my testimony with someone, and they'll be like, wow, like I never knew that, or like, wow, you overcame that. Or, for instance, one of the things I did share was I shared with one young lady that I had been abstinent for several years, that I was on a Christian journey and I was trying to remain abstinent. Remain abstinent. I have been abstinent for several years, and that I was trying to basically encourage her in what the word of the Lord says, which is to remain abstinent while you're, not married. And so I honestly didn't, I didn't tell her like, don't have sex, you shouldn't have sex, blah, blah, blah. But she was trying to be on the Christian journey. And so she, we talked about this because we were together for like a few days while we were working. And so we talked about it, and she asked me all kinds of questions and things like that. And I feel like the Lord really worked on her heart in the aspect of like, she decided that she wanted to, her and her then boyfriend, that they wanted to practice abstinence. And so she sent me a message, and she was just like, thank you so much for sharing your story, like it really helped me, and we're gonna be abstinent. So uh over the time, they had been together for a while, and they did start practicing abstinence. From what she told me, they did start practicing abstinence, but of course it didn't last very long because they were used to, having sex and things like that. And so eventually they started back having sex, and then they ended up getting married. So that's a good thing that they did end up getting married. But yeah, so anyway, it is something that, it's like you never know who your story can impact. Because like some of the stuff that I've heard, it's like it don't speak to someone else, but it like speaks to me. And like it might not, my story might not speak to you, but it might speak to someone else. And so I'm just really like kind of battling with like, Lord, why? Like I know why, but it's like I still don't want to do it because it's a lot. And I'm just like, I have been going through so much with every time that I get ready to get on camera and like talk and tell my story or whatever the case is. I am having like today, I'm super like I just got so tired out of nowhere. But like I was getting like really bad panic attacks where I was just like crying hysterically for hours. Don't even know why I'm crying. But like it would be like I plan to do the video on such and such day, and I'm getting things ready or, whatnot. And then it's like I'm like hysterically emotional for hours and hours, and I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, I gotta get this video done today, like it's supposed to be done today. And so I would have to push through and dry my eyes and just try to hold off enough to like get the video done. And then there's other times like now, like I said, where I'm just exhausted to the point where I'm so sleepy out of nowhere, like just yawning and yawning. And I'm just like, I sat here for about 20, at least 20 minutes, if not more, just kind of waiting for, the people to move around and where it wouldn't be so loud and stuff. But then also just like, I don't know what to say. And I'm sleepy. And I don't really want to say anything. But anyway, whenever the Lord tells us to do something, it's imperative that we do it. You don't know who you're helping. You don't know who you're freeing. You don't know who could be going through the same thing that you're going through. You don't know who needs to hear your voice because, we all look different, but like there's someone who may compare to me in like, they might be a black woman who feels, looks like similar to me, and they're like, oh, she went through this. Or, it could be you just, everybody's different. And so everybody, whenever somebody can see somebody that's like, oh my gosh, like this person looks like me, or, has similarities to me. And it's like, wow, they went through this too, or even just seeing like, even if they don't look like you, like they might look like they're in such a great place in life, like they're just thriving, everything's so good. And then it's like you see them and you're like, wow, like they probably never have had anything bad happen in their life. Like, oh my gosh, they have such a good life. And then you hear their story and you're like, wow, like the Lord healed them and saved them from all of that. And if they can get to where they are at now, where you can't even tell if they've been through that, then I can do it too. And so, yeah, it could be just very encouraging to people. And so, if the Lord is calling you to do something, do it. And real quick, I went to event the other day, and just so happened to meet somebody in the parking lot, and we were talking about like this different stuff. And one of them was like, oh, at the thing they played the song "Yes" by Shekinah Glory, like, will your heart say yes? Will your heart and soul say yes? And I was just like remembering, like, I've heard that song so many times, and that song will pull at your heartstrings. Like, if you haven't heard that song, you, or if you battling with your yes, go listen to that song, because I've been listening to it for the last couple of days just on repeat, because I'm like, I need to get back to this. Like, I did say yes to the Lord, and I haven't even been walking in that yes, but the Lord has come back to remind me. You remember you said yes? You remember you said that your will be done and I'll do what you want me to do? And even the song says that, like, I'll do what you want me to do. And so anyway, when I was listening to it, I was just like, oh my goodness. And that song always just gets me. But yeah, so I was just like, okay, I have to do what the Lord is calling me to do, no matter how embarrassing it is, no matter what people think, what people say, no matter if it doesn't look like the numbers are there, no matter if it's, no matter how hard it is, no matter what the case is, like, I have to do what the Lord is telling me to do, because I know that eventually it's going to help somebody, right? So, anyway, that was just my little thoughts for today. Just say, if the Lord is telling you to do something, do it, because you never know. You never know what He has in store for you. You never know who is going to help. You never know. Even if you never even hear about that person, like, there's people whose story I've heard who will never know that their story helped me, because unless I write it in the comments, or there's some people you don't have comments to write it in. Some people you hear it and you never get a chance to speak to them. You never get a chance to tell them. And so, but that doesn't mean that their story wasn't just effective to me, just as effective to me as it could have been to someone who was able to talk to them, or was able to, let them know. And so, just, if the Lord is telling you to do it, He's telling you to do it for a reason. And that's what I have to keep telling myself. Like, there's no way I went through all of this stuff just to go through all of this stuff. And then I do feel like it was for someone else. And then it's like, the Lord is not cruel like that. I would not have gone through all this stuff just to have all of this stuff in my history, just to have it. You know what I'm saying? Like, He's a good God. So, like, I'm not gonna, He's telling me to share this for a reason. And so, regardless of whether we know the reason, regardless of whether we agree with it, or whatever the case is, you know, you just got to do what the Lord's telling you to do. I mean, you don't have to, but you can choose not to do it, and deal with the consequences of that, or you can choose to do it and deal with the consequences of doing it, which in some cases has turned out to actually be really good. So, anyway, y'all already know I always say be obedient, because I think because I'm on a season of, like, where I'm like, oh, I don't want to do it, and it's like, obedience is better than sacrifice. Obedience is better than sacrifice. So I keep telling myself that, and like, that's what I feel like I keep speaking about, because like, I'm looking at all these situations. I'm like, if I would have just been obedient, I might not have went through that. If I would have just been obedient, this might not be happening right now. That might not be happening right now. So anyway, yeah, if the Lord is telling you to do something, do it, because His will is better than ours. And He knows and He sees more than we can see. So anyway, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. See you on the next video. All right. Bye, loves.